Welcome once again to the rooms, to the pulpit podcast. Today we have a special guest. Not only is he a doctor, but a friend. Knew him for quite a few years. He was the person I talk about and share about at the meetings that led me into the ministry. He encouraged me to get into the ministry. I'm not good in getting a person to stating the person's name and what they do for a living, but I'm going to let him go ahead and let you know who he is and the name of his clinic, and he'll take it from there. Come on, Rusty.
Hey here, Kevin. Good morning. My name's Rusty Owen Brink. I'm a family physician. I've got board certifications in addiction medicine as well. I also recently celebrated 24 years in the program myself. I'm a recovering alcoholic. So, in a nutshell, that's pretty much who I am and what I do. Uh, Pleased to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me along, Kevin.
Well, you're quite welcome, Russ. You're quite welcome. We're going to jump in with 2 feet. I just want the people to know, this fentanyl that's going around in America and killing people. And I know when I surrendered 23 years ago, I used to speedball. I smoked the crack and I bought my cocaine and bought some heroin and mixed it all up. And I used to speedball by smoking it. And then I get into recovery, and I remember the first 2 years, 20 some odd years ago, they talked about black tar that was in certain part of the United States. And I remember scratching my head saying, wow, black tar. Well, I wish they would have had that out there when I was there. You know, it's the type of junkie. I'm in recovery, and I was like, man, I wish I would have had some of that stuff. Because the darker the heroin is, the better it is. And they talk about black tar. That got to be some good stuff. I'm about to curse, getting excited. So now, this thing have taken a turn. It took a turn for the worse. It's drugs that I never even, experienced, had. Opioid, they claim got it started. Break this thing down to us, Russ. Let us know how this thing,
Well,
where
Kevin,
we at, how I got started.
just quick, simple observation, Kevin. You just might be an alcoholic there, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
I mean, I hear you start your story, and the kind of hair on the back of my neck goes up a little bit. I'm just a
Yes.
poor old alcoholic. All this drug shit, this is beyond me. You were
Oh
definitely in the
God.
advanced class. Okay. I was very much in the beginners classes there.
Yes. But believe it or not, that's what I found. I seen a documentary on YouTube, and the documentary was so interesting. It was done by PBS. I love public television, and they had doctors like yourself who would specialize in alternative medicine, and they touched base on, and you could tell the viewers that they were talking to wasn't addicts and alcoholics. They was what so-called normal people, but the topic is so interesting,
Mhm.
and I just want you to share your experience and hope. I remember when you was about to open up your clinic and you was thinking about doing it in this town here, and you were saying that the type of people that might be coming up to for this alternative medicine might be scary with tattoos and the whole nine because they drug addicts. Can you remember that conversation?
Yeah.
And
Well,
it's a
there some
real
of these patients.
conversation. That's real. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they get to be very interesting. You want to see some interesting artwork and lifestyles. Their lifestyles often are painted out on their arms and their face, their neck, everywhere.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
and it's not for me necessarily. Like I said, I'm just a old alcoholic. You know,
Yes.
but I got into this. I started off with dealing with buprenorphine, and I had a patient that his brother was a professional baseball player. He had made it into the minors. He very smart guy, hell of an athlete, and the disease took him down.
Wow.
So that's pretty much he he was funny because he'd come in and he'd see me in my office, and he always just Doc, you could look right through me. You always knew what was going on with me. You could just look right through me and know what was
You do.
going on.
You got that nick about yourself.
Well, I mean, I just have a very well-tuned bullshitometer.
Yeah.
Okay. And, we have a pretty good song and dance that we can run. And this poor guy, he tried like hell to get sober. And then one day he comes in, he was looking a whole lot better. He found this drug called buprenorphine and he went on it and it really changed his life. So I got qualified to use it myself. And man, bupe is a lifesaver. Suboxone, Subutex, it's known for a lot of different names, Zubsolv, but it really has to be used in the context of an addiction program. It is not a substitute. Okay, for all your
Hmm.
listeners out there, very important concept. There is no pill to cure addiction, period.
Come on,
Okay.
Russ.
And folks think, well, I'll just, take this film under my tongue or do this or do that. No, no, there is no pill. This is a me disease with a we solution. My
That's right.
sponsor used to beat that into my head all the time. And also that, doctors, people with an education. I've got a lot of German blood in my veins. He said, you Krauts are also the worst because you're so damn thick headed. I am.
Hmm.
Yeah, I was given a very, very low chance of getting into recovery, when I first came into the program. And I've got, by the grace of God, one sobriety date,
Yeah.
you know. And my sponsor, God bless him, man, he's gone on to his reward at this point, but he was a saint. He put up with a lot with me. Um, you know, Harvey was just some kind of special. And man, this disease, it's cunning, baffling, powerful, ruthless, and lethal. It kills people.
Yes, and
Um,
insidious. And
yeah.
what I learned, when I moved from New York to down here, I built my foundation in Narcotics Anonymous because, I hit a bottom in drugs. But alcohol was that it was, it was a gateway, substance that led me into drug abuse.
Yep.
But we have the same common denominator far as the things that we have to work is a mind mood altering chemical. Whether it's alcohol or drugs, what it does to us, how it affects us. And when I came to believe, Russ, is that the substance, whatever it is only 10%, is that small. Is the other stuff that we deal with, our emotions, our shortcomings, the stuff that I learned that makes us all common and how to recover. So you hear me, the viewers, you might hear me talk about drugs, but that doesn't mean that whoever beside me. That was the road that got them to the rooms. That's why I said from the rooms to the pulpit. I didn't say from Narcotics Anonymous to the pulpit, Alcoholic Anonymous. It's from the rooms. Rooms cover everything. And listen at this, Russ. Help me out on this because there are some people working a 12-step program. Watch this. Ain't got nothing to do with drugs and alcohol. I have a good friend, a very good friend that goes to Gamblers Anonymous.
Hmm.
What's that mental thing that causes us to be all in the same boat, so to speak?
I don't know that it is a mental thing. Okay. I love what they say in AA, once a pickle, never a cucumber. Okay. Once we cross that threshold, that barrier, that line, whatever it is. When I was in treatment myself, I was licensed to prescribe any medication out there. And what they had to beat into my head was you can prescribe for somebody else, you just can't prescribe for you.
Mm,
So you can't prescribe yourself a cold beer on a hot day. You can't prescribe yourself a cocktail at the end of a long, busy, stressful day. All
yeah,
right. That's where the problem is. You cannot self-treat. You can take heroin, you can take morphine, you can take whatever, as long as it's under another doctor's prescriptive advice recommendation, but you can't self-dose. Now, I will say with that unfortunately, physicians, as a rule, know very, very little about this illness.
yeah.
They'll tell you, oh, okay, here, just take some Xanax, take some Valium, take some Ativan, lorazepam, whatever. Benzodiazepines, things like I just mentioned, they're alcohol in tablet form. They work on the same receptors in the brain. So
Okay.
when you're talking about using these things, uh, it's just not safe. I mean, there are some indications that you can use it for. One that comes to mind, if somebody's having a real bad seizure that won't stop, excuse me. Okay, fine. Benzodiazepines could be very good to break a seizure from going on and on and on.
Hmm.
But doctors tend to hand the stuff out like candy. They used to more in the past than they are now. But this is a dangerous candy, so you do have to be careful. And it's a good idea, if you're going to get medication like this, make sure you're getting it from somebody that is really pretty familiar with the disease. Ideally, somebody that's got a personal history of addiction.
That's right.
You know.
I would tell this quick story. I had an aneurysm in 2009. I was in a coma for over 30 days. And when I came out, I remember the first thing talking to the doctor, seeing him for the first time. And the doctor said, if you do, how you feel, you're in pain. And I said, no. And he said, okay, let us know when you're in pain. And I remember the nurse coming in. She said, "How you feel?" And you know how they come around and check.
Mhm.
And I said, "I feel okay." And they said, "Let us know if you're in pain." And I said, "I feel a little pain." Then she said, "From 1 to 10, how I feel?" She got like excited. This is new to me. I said, "Maybe a 3." Man,
Mhm.
a few hours went by, and asked me the same question. Now I'm beginning to feel pain, and I told him it's a 7. And I was in my sleep, and that pain woke me up out of my sleep, man. And that was a tremendous. This is coming from a coma, and later on I found out that in your blood, when you're in a coma, you're in a straight position. They have to turn you and everything. If your blood don't flow, you're gonna have tremendous amount of pain in your lower back, and it comes from the spine, and that's what happened. And that pain was so awesome, man. And they shot me with whatever it was, but later on it was, I don't know, it was morphine, whatever, your doctor, but it took away the pain. And it was like the best heroin I ever had in my life. Me being an addict, that's the first thing I thought about was some dope. I said, man, that's some good stuff, boy. And and my daughter came to see me, and my daughter said, "Daddy, you acting kind of strange today." I said, "You think I'm not acting strange?" I said, "Go and get me some pizza." She said, "Daddy, you got a hole in your throat. You can't eat no pizza." They already took out the trait, right? So I was carrying on so bad. And the nurse came in, and my daughter said, "Can he eat pizza?" And she looked, she said, "Break it in little pieces and just hand it to him. You could go and get him some pizza." Because I was making such a scene. It looked like I was, like I became intimidating based on my actions. But that's what drugs was doing to me. My body, what I'm getting at, the body of an addict doesn't know the difference between pain and pleasure once he's getting served medication. That's what I want the viewers to understand. And what Russ is talking about is very important to take your prescription the way it was given to you from the doctors. I wouldn't say from whoever, because the pusher man is out there. No, when you got some type of illness and you're getting prescribed drugs, the body don't know the difference, because when I think back to that experience, I actually was high, not getting medicated because I was sick. I was in pain. All I knew, that was the best heroin I ever had. And even to today, Russ, I still share it like that. I was in the hospital, I had the best dope. Something about that prescription, that stuff is good. But
Kevin, I've heard that some of us are sicker than others.
that's me. That's me. I listen. 23 years of recovery, pastor, and I still know, I go to the meeting, they swear I'm funny. And I love to be myself. And I tell her I'm about the craziest cat you ever going to see here. But thank God I have God. I know that I'm heaven bound. But I like to have fun, Russ. I
Well, hell, all
refuse to be.
alcoholics like to have fun. I've never been to
Yeah.
a glum AA meeting. Have you?
Say it again. No, never, never.
Yeah, I mean, we're constantly laughing, we're cutting up, we're
That's
busting
right.
each other balls. We're the folks that are most likely to wear the lampshade at the party.
I went to an AA meeting Monday past. It was a lunchtime meeting, and usually be 15, 20. For some reason, it was 5 people, and the meeting went. We didn't run out of time. Everybody basically shared their experience straight in the hole, like they were sharing because we was trying to say use up the time. But believe it or not, it was like one of the best meetings I had in a long time. It was just five of us,
Yeah.
and I usually always like a big meeting, but it was five of us,
Who
and
never
we
misses
kept
a
each
meeting?
other. Say it again.
Who never misses a meeting?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
It was good. And I want the viewers to understand, if you have a, especially the newcomer, if you have a drug and alcohol problem, and we know that this pandemic is about to take a turn for the worse, tune into Zoom, tune into recovery podcasts, tune into From the Rooms to the Pulpit. You have to stay plugged in. Don't try to do this thing by yourself. What do you think about that, Russ?
no, I fully agree that this disease. I mean, the best description I've ever heard of recovery is in the big book, and it talks about, it's like we're in a lifeboat, okay, and there's room in the lifeboat for more people, and we're just laughing and celebrating and having a good time. And if we can help somebody else climb into that lifeboat, that's cause for another celebration. That's cause for another party,
Yeah.
you know. And what I tell my patients when they come in and they're needing help, and part of what I do is what's called medication assisted treatment. Okay, things like buprenorphine. We've got medications that we can use for virtually all of the different addictive substances and behaviors. Okay, but
Now stop right there. What makes that different from prescription drugs and what you prescribe? Explain that to our viewers because
okay,
I'm
well,
new
again,
to it
like we
too.
covered earlier in this talk, the most important thing is it's self will run riot. Okay, terminal selfishness is this disease. When you start prescribing for yourself, whether you're prescribing sex or gambling or food or drugs or alcohol or whatever, if you're binge eating in the middle of the night because you're stressed out, that's a form of addictive behavior. If you're
Mm,
gambling away the rent money, that's a form of addictive behavior. If
gotcha.
you're very, very promiscuous and you just can't stop, pouncing on the next person that comes across your path, that's an addictive behavior. All those behaviors are linked with the release of something called dopamine, the pleasure drug, neurotransmitter really in your brain that makes you feel good. And
Hmm.
when you're treating yourself, you got a problem. Now, if we take the same kind of stuff and have it given by somebody who's qualified to give it, and you're taking it as directed by a qualified practitioner. And
Hmm.
again, a lot of doctors don't know squat about addiction, but if you treat it, if you're getting somebody that does know the disease and knows what they're doing about it, then all of a sudden you're not self dosing. This is no longer self will run riot. Now you're just following doctor's orders. And
Mm,
that's the big difference, self
right.
will versus doctor's orders.
Okay, okay. While we on this, I wonder if it's okay if you want to answer it. If you say nah, that's okay. I'm putting you in the spot, so that means that you're going to have to answer it. When the time came, I remember for the viewers, I know Russ for a long time, and he kind of pinpoint that before opioid was widely known to affect people the way it's affecting them. You was already up on it that this drug doctors is prescribing things that was harmful, and I remember you had some struggles in your business, and it caused you to you know almost lost your practice and stuff like that because you was put your foot down. You was the first. Now doctors don't want to prescribe it. And I had 3 teeth removed, and they told me I go home and take some Tylenol and Metro. I said, "But give me some drugs." And I got some teeth removed. What's wrong with you? But they don't want to prescribe nothing no more.